So we did, and we started the 40 days, and a beautiful thing happened because there wasn't the societal pressure that couples go through when they're dating or even engaged. It was strictly getting to learn about each other in a amazing way. We talked and we learned about each other, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I mean that sincerely, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it was an openness, a true release for me. And she will explain hers as well. But to me, it was a release because I didn't have to pretend. I had the avenue and the opportunity to really lay bare my spirit to the person I wanted to be my wife. And it felt so good. Those 40 days were long. I'm not going to deny that. They were long, but they were great. And I really, I can't say enough about what it means. And everybody will go through it in a different way and see it in a different manner and you know, look at it in a different perspective. To me, coming in because I wasn't part of the divine principle and everything else, everything was new to me. And the questions I had with the Catholics, the Presbyterians, the Lutherans, the dogmas, all of the stuff there were not there. It was pretty much love. If you love, you'll be good. You know, love me, that was her, but also love everything, love what you do. And it goes to what we heard earlier, give. I've always been a giver, but it put giving into a very different perspective to me, because it allowed me to appreciate the giving in a totally different light. And then, you know, the 3 days, which I don't know what I did wrong, but it landed up being 6 days because Dr. Jenkins decided to pull my wife away for the first 3 days. So they became 6 days. But it really worked out wonderfully. And it's actually 2018, not 2019. So
2018, sorry.
You know, life just whizzes by. And to this day, she and I are truly best friends.
Oh.
There doesn't pass a day that we don't laugh with each other, at each other, about each other. And we really have a good relationship, a totally open, honest, truthful relationship.
Yeah.
And it's all because of the marriage blessings.
Wow.
Wow.
All yours.
Wow.
Wonderful.
That's beautiful.
Dr. Patra, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, you know, I cannot talk without first going back to the principle. I already had a revelation that God gave to me regarding who I was going to be with. Now, I don't have a photo of that person in my mind, but I know what God said. The divine principle now brought me to understand a lot of things. The teaching there was so special. When I started off reading the principle, Dr. Jenkins put me in class, and I wasn't really not interested, you know, because I was already there, been there, and everything that I thought I knew, nothing matters, nothing works. But I would be grateful forever for not just putting me in the class, but also following up. And so I got interested, and the more that I read it, the more my eyes were popped up, like, what? This is different from everything that I have ever knew. So I was ready to take the next step, you know, knowing the principle into its in depth. You know, I had to study in my bed, and when I'm doing something, it was totally different from the things that I knew from before. And I had risen to a position of being a pastor and all these things, you know, before then. And so when we started talking about the blessing, I had told my my husband that we were going to have a 40 days, because one of the things that I had realized is the fact that the principal talked about false father a lot, and we all have been, into the falsehood. And I thought in my mind, okay, so we get married, we have paper certificate, and paper certificate has never replaced our DNA. And so when the blessing came up, it was a total different thing. Nobody has that plan. Nobody has that package except for the true parents. And so I said, yeah, this is very powerful. And at exactly 40 days plus 3 and everything makes so much sense to me. And so when I knew my husband because he's the one who honors, okay? So I said, we are going to do this in this way. And when he accepted, we had our own little package, and our package was that we were going to date each other again. And we had 2 homes. So I had to stay in Bowie where he stayed in Bethesda in the apartment at that time before we bought our own home together. So while he was there, we would make a date. Part of the package was to date each other. And so he would come to the restaurant or we meet somewhere and we start talking. And we did not do anything in the worldly way. We did not ask questions about how much you make, where you work, I was busy teaching him about the fruit and the apple and what happened. That was our discussion. I feel like, the first 2 days was like, this is what we're going to go through. But as soon as he settled down and it began to make sense to him, he was like, yeah, yesterday you talked about this, let's continue from that. So before you knew it, it was 40 days. And it was the most enjoyable 40 days. We learned each other. What would you like to do in this case? What is your opinion about this? We didn't do anything worldly. We didn't ask the questions of this world, 7 ways on how to kill your husband, 21 ways on how to eat yourselves. We didn't do all that. We were busy connecting with the heavenly parents. And that was so important to us.